Hey YouTube, it's yours truly here, Oblivion Ghost 28. So I decided to make this video about these controllers here, and main reason is because of these two on your left. The furthest one from your left, this is the Beitong Zeus2 controller. The second one is the FlyDigi Apex 4. So the main reason I'm making this video is because when I went on YouTube, I searched to see if there was a direct comparison between the Zeus2 and the Apex 4. There's not one single video on YouTube where a single YouTuber, not one, has these two controllers making a video comparing these, okay? Also, this video, I'm going to demonstrate why these two controllers are, bar none, a lot better than your flagship controllers for the Xbox Series X, which is, this is the Series 2, and this controller here, which is Astro's attempt at an Elite controller, the C40TR. This works on both PS4 and PS5. So now we'll start with the Zeus2 controller just because it has literally the most features that come with it. And we'll start with just like your modularity on here, like what you can do, what you can swap out, I guess. So this controller, it comes with a total of 4 of these swappable AXYB modules. The one I currently have on here right now, this is the optical mechanical button. And the one that actually came with it is this one right here. So this will actually come installed with the controller when you get it. Yeah, I don't know, I gotta cut my fingernails. So it's more clicky. Both are very responsive. The other thing too is that it does come with is your typical membrane style controller. Doesn't make any sounds, just your little like thumpy. So, which is going to be more like these controllers right here. So, besides that, with your AXYB being mechanical, bumpers are mechanical. It does have your configuration, which is a lot like your Razor Wolverine Tournament Edition controller. Those are also mechanical. It also has these buttons on the bottom, also mechanical. And the triggers are pretty good as well. They do have trigger stops. These are Hall effect triggers, which pretty much means that both the triggers and your grips have rumble motors. The rumble motors in your triggers, they're not going to be quite as intense as the rumble motors in your grips. So just keep that in mind. Now, modularity wise too, it does come with a bunch of these swappable D-pad, you know, little face plates. It does come with swappable sticks as well. These are the ones that actually were pre-installed that came in the box. These ones I would stick to just because they will provide the most accuracy when it comes to FPS games, and they're pretty easy to take out, as you could tell. You just pop it out, and when you pop it back in, it doesn't take a lot of force to put these back down. You hear a little bit of a click, and they're pretty much in place. D-pad is also mechanical as well. So it's a very unique controller. My only gripe about this controller right now is that these buttons on the back, which kind of qualifies as an Elite controller, they're just way too close. So I don't know if you can see this or not. But the size of my thumb compared to these two buttons right here, the size of my finger between these two buttons right here, I'm not going to be able to use 2 fingers with these 2 buttons. This is the type of controller that when you're playing this, you actually have to swap between with 1 finger, unfortunately. It is, though, pretty darn accurate in terms of your aiming and just how you can play games with it. Now, in terms of the D-pads that do come with this controller, this is a magnetic one, and these just pull right out. And how you can tell these are magnetic and steel, because it does come with 2 of them. So you can hear they're steel. And because they're magnetized, you have to keep in mind with this controller it has these little grooves right here, right? So, and then, I don't know if you can see or if it's going to focus on this or not, but you see those grooves on the top? So out of the 4 corners of this little fitting here, you actually have to fit that kind of like right on the top there, just like that, okay? So, but yeah, it just kind of fits right into place, just like that. It doesn't snap down because it's magnetic, right? But you can just take it right off, no problem at all. And yeah, easily swappable. Now these plastic ones are a bit of a different scenario, because these plastic ones right here, they do have these little grooves, and it's really difficult for this to focus on it. But you can probably see a little bit. So these ones here, when you line these, the top up, because you have to remember the top one that has those 2 little prongs, which are like grooves, you have to always put at the top of the D-pad, right? And these do snap down. And the reason they do that is because it's plastic. You don't want it to flap anywhere. If they sat like the metal ones do, these would just come off, you know, like nothing. So okay, so now to swap these out, I'll show you how this is done. You just remove these just like so, and you have to keep in mind there is a groove right here, so you just kind of put your thumb in between that groove and it should separate the plate, and this will allow you to separate the clear plate very easily and carefully. So, and they do have different color ones that you can order, I think, on AliExpress for these. But for these modules, what you have to do is there are these little notches on these 2 ends right here. You have to put your finger down so you can lift this one up, and then you see how that just kind of came up? This will allow you to remove the module. That's how it looks inside. And to put it back in, it's the same way you took it out, pretty easy. Just make sure the A button is down, and it'll click once it's fully in. These don't come out very easily either. You actually have to pull these notches back. You see? When I do this, you have to pull those notches back. And then of course, to put the faceplate back on, it's pretty easy. You just slip it on like so, snap it into place, make sure it's on. And since I kind of like the plastic D-pad, I know some people are more like, well, they like the magnetic one just to give them more the elite controller kind of feel. I personally like the plastic. It's more clicky and it's a little bit smoother on your skin. So, but yeah. You just click in. You just click in. Good to go. Now, it's not advertised with this controller, but I know for a fact that these toggle sticks are Hall Effect sticks. So I'll demonstrate that in a little bit here in the video. So of course, that's your power button right there. That's to turn it off, and that's to turn it on. So it is reading a wireless transmitter though. On the back, you do have your gyro, which is for the Nintendo Switch. You also have your profile button, which is like which will cycle between 4 profiles. You also have your FN button, and this is kind of a crazy feature about this controller is that when you hit this FN button, it'll vibrate, and you'll basically turn this controller into a mouse. Okay. Now the way that works is under the app you can customize this to your liking. I personally like the left toggle stick to basically be the mouse, you know, where you move the little arrow around, and then I'll have the right toggle stick to be your mouse, basically scrolling up and down. A button is your left click, B button is your right click. In the Beitong app, you can customize this with macro buttons to your PC on this controller, so you can literally turn this gaming controller into an utter beast just by using these sticks as like your mouse features, but also using your buttons and combining what the commands are for, I guess, an Xbox controller. Will you be able to use this as a fully functioning controller just like a mouse? Somewhat. It's just something you have to play with and experiment for quite a bit. Now, other than that, yeah, so it does come with a lot of features, but one important thing I want to point out about this controller is that when you do the FN button and go from regular controller to like a mouse, and you do this little gyroscope thing here for the Nintendo Switch, you can actually use this as your mouse for PC without having to use this as your toggle. So it's a unique feature. But very functional. But yeah, I'll show you more about this in a little bit. Oh, and this controller on Amazon you can get within 2 days if you order it. It's around $136. Keep in mind, Elite Series 2 controller still running at around $174 to $184. Brand spanking new. If it wasn't refurbished, this would cost around $200. Newly refurbished, directly off of Logitech and Astro's website, $169.99. More about these later. So now the FlyDigi Apex 4. There's really not a whole lot you can really say about what I guess the features and whatnot. It does have removable sticks. It does have a removable D-pad. And the thing about the Apex 4 that makes it quite unique, and I'll take the toggle sticks off right now and the D-pad and show you what I'm talking about. Anyone who hasn't seen this controller, this is the only controller on the market that actually has these kind of toggle sticks. Now this also has a nice little LED screen too. So, but you notice how those move back and forth, right? So, but yeah, that's how that thing comes off as well. The Apex 4 also has a clear faceplate, just like the Zeus2. So, but now to basically take this D-pad off, put it back on, you have to take that groove right there, line it up with that groove right there, so you can get it on evenly. Now these don't click into place. It just kind of rely purely on pressure. So, and that's pretty much how they're all held in. Same with the toggle sticks as well. You have to kind of force them down. And don't worry, you're not breaking it if you have to push them down a little hard. Now, what makes this controller really unique compared to the Beitong Zeus2 controller. It does have your grip rumble motors, and the kind of trigger rumble motors that it currently has in here right now literally put the DualSense controller for the PS5 to utter shame. On PC, the FlyDigi app, you can actually adjust the intensity of these rumble motors, and I guess the only example I could really give to you is if you're holding in the left trigger and then you hit the fire button, depending on the kind of gun you're using, whatever game you're playing, you will actually feel a really sharp snap with these rumble motors as you're shooting. And what I mean by snap is, like, you go so far down with the right trigger, it's going to snap back at you as you're trying to hold the trigger down. So now these don't have trigger locks on it, but in the app there is a trigger lock that actually does make these a lot harder to press down. So I don't know why they would have that feature, but it's just something you would have to check out if you end up buying this controller. So anyways, with this controller, you do have mechanical buttons as well. And these are a little bit on the softer end, which, you know, it's not a bad thing. These are actually very responsive. And I think these are more like along the lines of the optical micro buttons as well, like micro switches. So left bumper and right bumper, I believe those are micro switches. The back buttons here, micro switches as well. And, you know, this is a lot more practical for an Elite controller because they understand you're not going to use two of your fingers, you know, on the side of the controller. So they know that if you're going to play, your hands are going to be like this, and you can just rotate as you're playing. You know? It does make a lot more sense that way. D-pad's also mechanical. Now, the really cool thing about this controller is when you power it on, you get that LED that lights up. But it kind of looks like this when you power it on. That's pretty dope. I'm not going to lie, that looks really, really badass. So, now, in terms of accuracy of this controller, how is it compared to the Elite Series 2 controller or the Astro C40 TR? Well, I can tell you with absolute certainty, without a shadow of a doubt, that this controller wipes the floor with both of these controllers together. That's just how spot on it is. I mean, these toggle sticks are on a whole other level, just how smooth and how accurate they are. Now, when I did take the faceplate off, one thing I didn't point out was this comes with a little key right here that is magnetic. You pull it out, and these two, oops, I hit the camera again, sorry. These two screws right here, you can actually adjust the tension of your toggle sticks. So unlike the Elite Series 2, this only has 3 tension settings. And it actually clicks when you adjust the tension on the Elite Series 2. This, they don't have clicks. So you can either just go from really, really loose to way tighter than the Elite Series 2. And let me tell you, you can get these pretty darn tight. So, but yeah, pretty neat controller. It does have your mount too. Just keep in mind if you buy this controller that you need to make sure that the mount that comes with the basically clip onto this is going to be compatible with the Apex 4. So now let's get to why both of these controllers between the Zeus2 and the Apex 4 are a much better choice versus the Elite Series 2 and the Astro C40. Okay. So, and also on AliExpress, $109 for the Apex 4. If you want like a travel case that this fits into, kind of like the case that would come with the Elite Series 2. You can have that. You can also have a charging station for this as well, where these two pins just kind of rest up on, and your controller basically just kind of sits like this on the charging station, right? You can get all those accessories, including this controller, for around $156. So keep that in mind. $184. Now $169.99 refurbished. $154 with all the accessories. On Amazon, unfortunately, just the controller, $154. $136 to $146, I believe. I think it's $136 for the Zeus 2. You get all these modularity features, replacement sticks, replacement D-pad, including steel magnetic ones. And on AliExpress, you could get this controller for just over $100, just like the Apex 4. This, you can also get a travel case that has all of the little slots in there for your replaceable toggle sticks, D-pads, and your XYAB modules. Also has a wireless charger that comes with it. So I was trying to figure out, like, if this actually has a little thing where it would have a charging station, and I didn't see anything, and turns out it has a coil right here underneath the plastic. So it has a really cool wireless charging base that you just set it on, and there's a little illumination that goes all the way around, kind of like this, how the steel looks, but that's kind of how it looks, but it comes around where this just kind of sits on it. It's pretty neat. So you can get that charging station, travel bag or travel case to fit this in, that if you whether you just have it for home, you bring it with you, $156 to $160. You're still spending less on these two, getting all the bells and whistles and all the features that come with it, versus just this controller with a charging cable. Granted, you'll probably get some replaceable sticks that pop out, right? You can just pop back in. Whoop-de-doo. So now I'm going to demonstrate why these are better than these other two. Okay, so I'll try and be as short as I can on this. Okay, be right. Okay, so in Game Controller Tester, we're going to show you how you can pretty much tell that these are Hall effect sticks. Now, I'm going to start with the Beitong Zeus2 controller. All right, so as you can see, I'm not clickbaiting anyone when I do this. All right, so I'll just get out of the screenshot now so you can see really clearly. So I'm moving the toggle stick just so gradual right now, and then when I let go just a teeny tiny bit, the values go all the way back to 0 every single time. Every time. Same with the right toggle stick. The values always stay at 0. Those are the rumble motors and the trigger motors as well. So of course everything works on it. So the same thing too with the Apex 4, so you guys know I'm not clickbaiting you. So I'll get it out of the screen so it can focus on this, the values here. So Apex 4 also has Hall effect sticks. So I go just a teeny tiny bit back over, and then I'll let go. And the values always go back to 0. Same with the right toggle stick. Always goes right back to 0. And that's actually a very strong indicator that you have a controller that has Hall effect sticks. Is when you go into an app you get from the Microsoft Store for just to test your controllers out, because this app is called Game Controller Tester. But yeah, it does very well at indicating just the values of how well your controller is going to work. And that's both the grip rumble motors and the trigger rumble motors. So it's a pretty awesome controller, in my opinion. And oh yeah, the one feature about this, like the Xbox, I don't know if it's gonna do it or not. Actually, let me back out of here really quick. Okay, so yeah, so this actually it's not doing it. Oh man, probably because my other controllers are hooked up to it. But this has a home button just like the Xbox controller. Keep in mind, on the back here, it's on the right side. So this is gonna work as your Xbox game bar button on PC. So we're gonna test the Elite Series 2 controller really quick, so you guys know I'm not clickbaiting you. Alright, so as you can see in the screen here, the values don't go back to 0 with the Elite Series 2. This is one of the things that frustrates me about these controllers that cost damn near $200 is, yes, they have decent features. You can adjust the tension on the sticks, and you have your 4 back paddles that you could use underneath the controller. That's all fine and dandy, okay? You know, the removable D-pad that you can swap out for the metal ones, that's all magnetized sticks, that's all fine and dandy. Great features. But it doesn't help the fact that these analog sticks are just standard analog sticks. See, when you see the values here, how they don't go back to 0, even if I snap back really quick. Oh, see that actually went back to 0 just one time. And then that did, okay? I mean, is it a good controller? Is it going to work? Yeah, it's going to work. It's going to do what it's supposed to do. Don't get me wrong, okay? But this controller, you're going to get stick drift regardless, okay? You're going to have this for about a year, and whether it's this one or this one, you know, all of a sudden your thing's going to be going way up there, and there's not going to be anything you could do about it. Sure, you could get a scuff controller that's going to cost you about $350+ with like mechanical buttons and everything, that, you know, the D-pad, even the triggers, you know, that's fine and dandy. But what they would have to do to install Hall Effect sticks that have the same type of adjustable feature that comes with this controller could cost you anywhere from an additional $75 to $150. Okay? In the end, you could be spending $450 on a scuff controller that looks just like an Elite Series 2 controller. Is it going to last you a long time? Sure, it's going to last you a long time, but you had to spend that much money just to put it on the same level that you would put the Beitong Zeus2 controller. Keep in mind, the Zeus2 controller, between the D-pad, the X, Y, A, B module buttons here, the bumpers, even the rear back buttons on the bottom of the controller here, mechanical. A lot similar to what Scuff and other brands would do that would mod controllers, okay? But yet, the values are off on here. And I barely ever use this controller. Granted, I've had this for about almost 11 months. I've used it a total of maybe 3 days, 4 whole days tops, okay? So technically it's still kind of on more of the brand new end, and yeah, this is pathetic. The values just aren't there. Not worth the price at all. It's going to be a little bit similar story with the Astro C40. Just so you guys know I'm not clickbaiting you, okay? Now with the Astro C40, and I'll try and keep this out of frame, but you notice how much quicker that your inner outer kind of just snap right back in the center. Okay. So they're quicker toggle sticks. They're a lot quicker analog sticks than you would find in the Elite Series 2. But like the Elite Series 2, the values don't go back to zero, which is a strong indicator these will have stick drift. But at least Astro was smart enough to make a controller that was modular enough where you could take the faceplate off and swap out the analog sticks or the D-pad, okay? You can't do that with the Elite Series 2. And at the time when both of these controllers were brand new on the market, this was only maybe $12 cheaper than this controller. I would rather spend the extra $13 or $12 on the C40 knowing I could order new sticks if I started having stick drift with this. Not to mention, this has a little button. Oh, I'm testing out. So this has a little button right here that you press down and you hold it in to calibrate. And you just, once you feel the vibration on this controller, you just leave it down on a flat surface. As soon as you feel that vibration, after hitting that button, and you wait about 30 seconds, and it'll vibrate again, that should help fix a lot of your stick drift. So that's the other benefit about the C40, okay, is you have all these features. You have modularity. It's a little bit bigger controller, so for people like me who have bigger hands, this thing is going to fit me very nicely if I want to use this controller, right? Yeah, I guess they're okay. I mean, if I wasn't using this controller, if I wasn't using this controller, I would probably be playing with the Astro C40 TR above anything else. So, but yeah, so Hall-effect sticks, they're gonna last you 10 times longer than your standard analog sticks, and you know, hopefully like the rest of your controller stays good, not worn out. Your controller could last you twice as long, if not 4 times as long, as a standard Xbox or PlayStation controller that has analog sticks, or standard analog sticks, I should say. But anyways, that's pretty much my video of this comparison between the Beitong Apex 4. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. The Beitong Zeus2 controller and the FlyDigi Apex 4. Anyways, yeah, it's getting late here. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said earlier, I had to make this video because I could not find a single YouTube video that involved both the Zeus2 and the Apex 4 within the same video. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions or comments or whatnot, just feel free to leave a comment down below, or, you know, yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you on the flip. Sorry about that, you guys. Last thing I actually forgot to mention before I ended the video here is these controllers between the Apex 4 and the Beitong Zeus2, these are meant more for PC gaming. You can actually use an app on your phone if you play Xbox or PlayStation. If you want to use these on your Xbox or PlayStation, You're probably not going to have as many options using these two controllers on console versus PC. So just something you got to keep in mind. So if you're going to play with controllers on console, you probably want to stick to the Astro or the Elite Series 2. But yeah, kind of hate to burst your guys' bubble there, whoever plays console, but that's just the way it is. These are meant more for PC than anything else. So, but that's the video. Okay, see you guys on the flip.